It started with my dad when I was a kid, probably 7, 8 years old. He had a Jeep truck, J10, but it was a honcho. I decided at that point that someday I would have a honcho. The way I got into Jeeps is my 95 is a trail Jeep. And so we would go to Moab every year, mostly for Easter Jeep Safari. And then when I got the idea of getting a J10, we started looking basically all over the US, or at least from here in Atlanta to Moab. And J10s are unbelievably hard to find. And it turns out when we got home, I found this J10 20 minutes away in Blairsville. So, small world. So the goal on the build here was keep it original looking, update it, but scrape off all of the original drivetrain and put in modern equipment, modern engine, modern transmission, modern axles, brakes, everything that you need to just daily drive a vehicle. The main goal was to leave the body as is, but bring it up to date with a modern color. So the body that you see now is as it came from the old man. You'll see there's gaps in the fenders, there's dents in it. We just painted over them because the mission for us is to have a daily driver, is to have a truck for truck stuff. And I'm the kind of person that if it's too shiny and if it's too straight, then I don't use it like I should be using it. We took out the inline-6 Jeep engine and put in a 6.2 LS motor. It happened to come out of a Cadillac Escalade. We backed that up with a NV 4500 5-speed manual transmission. All that stuff is backed up by two Dana 60 axles from East Coast Gear Supply. With those axles are air lockers and 410 gears, just basically 1-ton axles. If you go all the way out to the wheels, they're Method race wheels. This is going to raise some hairs on the purist Jeep guys. The paint is actually a Land Rover color. It's called Arlee's Blue. And the reason I chose it is I'm just a big fan of blue. And when I saw the Land Rovers back in the day, the original Defenders, when I'd see one painted in Arlee's Blue, I just would go crazy over the color. What I wanted out of this truck was a modern look with a throwback color, and Arlee's Blue was the color for it.
Yeah, so one day, kind of out of the blue, I got a call from John Lostetter over at Georgia Jeep Tech, and he's like, "Hey Evan, I remember Bert, and I remember Bert from a couple years ago, just doing some other stuff for him." He's like, "Hey, we're just finishing up on his J10 project. He wants to get it protected," and then the story begins.
Evan at Atlanta Ceramic Coatings was a key part in the build. The paint job on here is strictly daily driver. If I painted it to be a show truck, if I straightened the body panels to be a show truck, that's great, but it's not a driver truck. And I'll never haul with it. I'll never do anything with it except polish it. But I knew Evan could work his magic on a driver paint job and have it come out looking way better than I took it to him.
So what we did when the Jeep finally showed up, not only were we all thrilled because we love something that's vintage, that has a story, and automatically, I'm trying to figure out like, okay, what's the most effective thing that we can do for Bert? What's he going to be doing with it? We're asking him all the stuff. Daily driving it, great. Let's look for impact areas and let's protect what needs to be and leave alone what doesn't need to be covered. So started with PPF and we kind of went over the car.
He came up with a plan that put PPF film over all the critical parts of the truck.
We found some vulnerable areas and started with the PPF, and then after we finished up doing the clean and polish on the paint. It wasn't a concourse paint job, but he wanted to make it look nicer. So we wanted to work with that material and not have to wet sand everything out, but we gave it a good shine and protect it from there. You know, when you're dealing with impact stuff, it's leading edges. These tires are gonna be throwing some rocks up. We wanted to cover front side of fender flares. We did the bottom sides of doors and bed. We did the top sides of bed in case he's throwing his chainsaw in to go do some forestry work or something like that. And it was funny, I thought, you know, when we were first talking about what he's using it for, I was like, you're really gonna take it, you know, to go cut down a tree. He really is, and he really does.
Then he coated everything in ceramic, and that's what you see now on Forest Service roads quite often. And the truck was throwing up rocks, and when I got home, there were a bunch of scratches and chips on the fender flares, and I thought, oh well, I'll just have to replace that patch of PPF. And I came out the next day, and they were gone.
Yeah, so one day I got a call from Bert, and he's like, Evan, something's up. I was like, oh, what's going on, Bert? And he's like, I definitely had some little scuffs on the Jeep yesterday, but you know, left it out in the driveway for a day, and I can't find them. And I was like, well, Bert, I guess I've failed you, and I haven't communicated that there is self-healing capabilities on the PPF. So it was a kind of a happy accident.
I didn't know it did that. Evan told me that PPF is actually, if you apply heat to it, it actually heals itself. The rock chips that I had on the PPF one day were gone the next, just simply due to the heating of the day. And now they're gone. It is a vehicle that I'll keep for a really long time, and now that we finally got it close to being done, all of my kids are saying, yeah, they want to be the caretakers of it one day. So I guess probably it'll just hang around for the rest of certainly my life and probably my kids' life.
This J10 was built for daily driving and daily working, and we're glad that we could protect it for Bert and keep it looking great for years to come.